Greetings, guys. Welcome now to a brand new episode of Redemption Rotten. I'm your host, MrYazMan300, and joining me for the first time is Beth, aka LadyMacBehth. How you doing, Beth?
I'm doing great. I'm having a really good day.
Yeah. You know, you being on my podcast, I think just made a major milestone for any of my podcasts. It's like you're actually my first female host, actually, guest host, actually, on a podcast.
Nice. Yeah. That makes me happy.
Yeah. You know, because I'm actually trying to expand my podcast. Even when I did my first podcast, I tried to be branching out, getting more people like women and people of color. And for example, because, some commitment, like with time commitment, because I live in a different country and the time zones, I've had a hard time securing with people. That's why with most of the people, watch my last episode of my, previous podcast, I had the same person all over again. But he was actually a great guy. He took his time. And that person is actually Evan Jordan. Do you know he is?
I know Evan.
Yeah,
yeah, I know Evan.
Yeah. He's a great guy, and he even said he would be often interested in being in this podcast. So now I have to decide which movie I should get him for. So how are you doing, Beth?
I'm good. I've just been busy working so much. I haven't been able to stream as much as I would like, or at all, for the past month. Just work. Lots of work.
Yeah. I'm also busy because I also had to, I've been shooting 2 days ago. I even shot an episode because I fell behind schedule one episode because I was supposed to record a movie with people. Then some situation happens that would work, and another day another person got COVID. I had to also delay it. So far, everyone's now doing well, and also my friend who has the COVID, that's actually Kai, aka Arvor Kai, and he's doing well now. Last I check with him. And
a lot of my coworkers got COVID. It's spreading again, but it's a lesser form of the virus, which is better. It's not great. I mean, it's still spreading, but it's lesser, so it's not as affecting them as badly, which is good.
Yeah. And I hope people, if you're listening, be safe. Also, with COVID, wear mask, everything, social distancing, and if you do get the chance to get vaccinated, be vaccinated.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let me see that. For 2 minutes, and because most of the time we end up talking we're mostly catching up with everything. Yeah. So you talked about, now, if I'm not mistaken, you work in a karaoke bar, something like this.
Oh no, I work in a regular bar and a tap house and another bar and a video game bar, actually. Yeah. So I love the video game bar. They have every kind of console your heart could imagine, and thousands upon thousands of video games in the catalog.
Yeah.
So you come and play. You could pay $7 an hour to play whatever you want, or if you get a beer, you get to play for free. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Just for some people who are wondering, I'm not a person who drinks alcohol, but if there's anyone who's listening who goes to bars and drinks alcohol, you're free to join the bar location. What's the name of the bars that you mentioned?
I work at, Ishka's, McKay's, Archer's, and One Up Lounge, which is the video game place. Yeah. So yeah.
Yes. And also, go ahead, continue.
Sorry. I also do social media managing for a couple of them. So I handle their web pages and their Instagram and all the other stuff, which I love doing because I was already pretty much doing it with their help, and then they're like, let's pay you for this, and I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah. Sounds like a good opportunity. You grab the opportunity when you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also for those who actually are listening, whoever goes to this location, so be nice also to people in the bar, especially now with COVID, because I will hear sometimes people acting like dicks when they go to bar.
Yeah. We have a few of those. We just 86 them. Yeah. We kick them out if they're going to be jerks. We don't have a mask mandate here in town anymore, or a vaccination requirement at the door. It's discretionary for any the businesses, but all of them have just relaxed upon it. But if you're going to be a jerk, if anybody feels uncomfortable and they're wearing a mask, we basically were you can't harass other customers. They are within their right to wear whatever they want, just like you are. So yeah.
Like I said, to quote Dalton from Roadhouse, be nice.
Yeah. Plus, it doesn't affect them. I will never understand why they're so upset. how is it that somebody else wearing this makes you so mad? Like it affects your body somehow. Like, mind your business.
Yeah. Okay, then. So now, actually, this movie that I think we should over 5 minutes so we can start talking about it because most of the time, like heck, sometimes the things get real. One time we did actually. I always mention this because this was a very fun time conversation. We did Batman and Robin. We spent, I think, about 20 minutes talking about bat nipples and bad butt cracks. And that's just actually, we're talking about the beginning of the film.
Gosh. Yeah. That is such a bad movie. It's such a bad movie.
Yeah. And it's actually, I'm surprised to find this is actually my lowest viewed video on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah.
Everybody just doesn't want to relive the pain of that movie is what it is.
Yeah. I think also because a lot of people talked about it a lot to death. This and Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because of that viewership, I told my friends like, hey, you know what? For all these movies like that are best known for being horrible, we try to cater them for special occasions.
Yeah. I never understand why everybody hates on the new Star Wars. Like any of them, even like the prequels, all of that. They're written for this generation's children, just like the originals were written for us as children. So literally, it's for the generation. That's why, like, the kids of the 90s who were born in the 90s, absolutely love the prequels because they grew up on it. Just like the children nowadays, growing up on the new ones, they are going to love them. So getting mad that it's not, like, reminiscence and you can't capture that, like, first experience like you did when you were a kid is silly. Take it for what it is and just enjoy it. It's a movie. It's a movie.
Exactly.
Just enjoy it.
I mean, heck, Roger Ebert gave, I think, Spawn a glowing review. You heard about this story?
I love Spawn.
Oh,
That was a terrible good movie. I loved it. I'm excited for the remake.
Oh, yes, the one with Jamie Foxx, if it's still happening.
Yep.
One of my
Stop
favorite...
eating things, Mr.
Oh, that, by the way, for those who are listening, Mischief is actually the cat.
Yes, the little fuzzball right here.
Yeah.
She makes appearances in all my streams, and yeah, she's trying to eat stuff on my desk right now, and I'm like taking them away.
Mm-hmm. All right, now, okay. I had to check something I thought was an error, but nothing is. There's some stupid thing on the computer. So anyhow, what was that ago? It's a good thing to talk about Star Wars. Andy's in here because he has some, good words about Last Jedi. He would have stayed and turned this into a Last Jedi episode instead of Alien 3.
Same with some other Josh. He definitely stands Last Jedi. He loves that movie.
Maybe we should have. We should have some other Josh and Andy meet each other. Yeah.
I'm upset that they didn't sit down before they wrote the new Star Wars to have an overall arc. They just kind of winged it. That way, I think, was their main mistake, was they winged it.
Especially with the last one. Because they didn't... At least...
They basically Stephen Moffat it instead of Russell T. Davies kind of deal.
Oh, that's something as I have to have Andy explain to me. He's a Doctor Who fan.
Yep.
All right. What do you think about the new actor they got for Doctor Who?
I'm ecstatic. Yeah. I love him. He's from the TV show Sex Education, and all I can think of is wash your hands, you dirty pig. He is great. He's a great actor. I think it's going to be interesting seeing a person of color go back in time because like normally when like the languages and everything, they hear the languages that are being spoken, and the way they treated Bill when Bill went back in time. So now I'm intrigued how they're going to treat the Doctor.
This actually reminds me
it's going to be interesting.
Last season of Umbrella Academy, because I haven't seen the new season. Because remember, I forgot what his name was. The actress from who was actually in, the one who says I heard a rumor, because you show her like
Allison.
They treated her because she was a black person.
Yep, and she talks about that actually in the new season a little bit. So she mentions it in one of the episodes. She talks about how hard it was and. Yeah, it was. She talks about it with Diego. Actually, it's a really good season so far. I'm not finished. I'm still watching it. I think I have like 2 episodes left.
Yeah, because Disney Plus just got released in my country, and I'm trying to catch up with I just finished Hawkeye, Moon Knight, watched Doctor Strange 2, and what was it else? Oh, yes, I have Boba Fett and Obi-Wan and Star Wars.
Yep, I haven't watched any of them.
Yeah.
Because I don't have Disney. I have Disney Plus, but I don't have it on my TV right now because I don't have the sign-in. So, because I just haven't been watching TV like I used to, like a couple of years ago. I just stopped this year, and most of last year I just stopped watching TV for some reason, and I just started again. So I got to actually watch Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Loved it, and Umbrella Academy, and I think that's pretty much an anime. I've been watching a lot of anime, so
yeah.
I'm in the middle of Sword Art Online, Seven Deadly Sins, and I know it's not anime, but I watched finally Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I love it. Yeah, I understand now why everybody was obsessed with it, and I'm just like, yep, I love Uncle Iroh, and that, oh god, yeah.
I love that when he got to play the Uncle Iroh in the new Teen Nitwist. That's what what's his name? Appa from Kim Convenience.
Yeah, Appa. Yeah. Yes. I love him. He's such a good actor. He was actually in
Mando.
The Mandalorian season 2. I remember that when they showed him, and I was just like all excited. I was like, it's Appa.
And then they came as the evil Emperor Fire Lord Ozai.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know who
the new casting looks really good. I'm ecstatic because it's actually people of Asian descent, like it was supposed to be, not a bunch of white kids in the movie. and
from the new movie, he made the bad guys, people from, I think, South Asia, like Indian.
So the only people who were of Asian descent in the movie were the bad guys, and I'm just like.
And the film is directed also by M. Night Shyamalan, who's actually Indian in real life.
Yeah. No, he shot himself in the foot a long time ago with some of his movie choices.
The Happening?
Yeah, that one right there. Didn't want to say it. The trees are gonna get you.
And the hot dog. I don't know. I remember what I was reading. I found out that the hot dog guy was actually in the movie. I don't remember where it was. Something I might have seen. I don't remember where it was. Maybe I might find out maybe one another day. But also The Happening and what was it? Last time we are gonna be for another discussion, for another topic, and you're free to be part of it if you're interested.
I liked The Lady in the Water. I liked that because I like fairy tales. Yeah. So I liked that one. It wasn't the worst. It was entertaining. It was definitely different. Definitely different. And of course, we all love Sixth Sense. I mean, who doesn't? I did like The Village, though. Yeah. I also liked The Village. It was just mainly because I love Adrian Brody.
Yeah.
And Bryce Dallas Howard is amazing, as always. And, yeah. So, all the actors and Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah. It was good. I liked it. Everybody hates on that movie, but I liked it.
Yeah, and also, if I'm not mistaken, what did you thought of them on Unbreakable?
I loved Unbreakable. And I liked...
Split?
What's the other one? Not Glass, but the other one.
Split. The one with James McAvoy?
Split, yes. Loved Split. And I have not watched Glass. I don't want to. I've already had it spoiled for me, so I know what specifically happens, and I'm immediately, turned off by it. I'm like, no, this is a terrible idea. Why would you do that? Why would you set up all of this and then swoosh
Especially
it?
because, people want to see an Unbreakable sequel. That's what they got.
Mm-hmm.
Because I also, I got spoiled from it when I found out what happens in the film. I was like, wow, all these years, and this is what the fans were going to end up seeing.
Yeah. Basically, once again, he pulled a Stephen Moffat and killed off... Yeah, Stephen Moffat hates Doctor Who fans so badly that he would make characters that we would connect with and love, and then he's like, this is what happens when you talk against me, and he would just murder them for no reason. And everyone's just like, why? Why did you do that? Well, yeah, so...
Maybe I should tag Andy when I publish this episode because he's gonna love all of this. Because I remember him, he was non-stop tweet about... I remember, was Stephen Moffat or was it Christian... What's the guy who took over from the previous seasons? He did also Broadchurch. Chris Chapman or
Oh,
something.
Broadchurch. Yeah, I haven't watched any. Jodie Whittaker is great. I just tried watching it and I couldn't get into it at all. It didn't feel like Doctor Who to me. Plus, her sonic screwdriver looked really. No, we're not going to talk about her sonic screwdriver. It does not look like a spoon.
Yeah.
Right, you go over there.
I don't know. I should have to do this and translate all the stuff for me. All the Doctor Who stuff. You know, I think we should start talking about the movie we're about.
Alien 3?
Yeah. So, let's talk about it. Alien 3. So, let's begin now the history of the Alien franchise. So, it began in, I think, with Ridley Scott doing the first Alien movie in 79, if not mistaken. That became, I think, a big hit. And then in 19, if not mistaken, is it 84? I remember.
I think so. It's early 80s.
Yes.
I love how actually the Alien was written for a man and then they casted a female and it was actually like a sleeper hit. Like they did not expect it to be, and it blew up and it was great. And yeah, they realized women can sell movies.
Yeah. And also because at that time, sci-fi movies were not that big of a hit until Star Wars came in.
Yep.
Yeah. Because I remember some people were saying no to Star Wars because the sci-fi movies, like, man, this is going to be a career killer.
Yeah. No, and then Fox, I think it was Fox, decided to, you know, make this cash cow, just milk it for all it's worth, but with Alien 3.
Yeah. Yeah, because before that they did Aliens with they brought James Cameron, who's coming fresh from directing the Terminator, and even brought his, I don't know if they were married at that time or not, his ex-wife, whom I know, Gillian Hurt.
Linda Hamilton.
He was also meant to the film's producer, Gillian Hurt.
Oh, yeah.
Who's now a producer on the Walking Dead series.
Because, yeah, he was married, and then he met Linda Hamilton, married her, and then he cheated on her with the daughter in Titanic and left Linda for her. He has a history of doing this.
I mean, he also was meant to that director of what is it, Zero Dark 30, Kathleen Bigelow. And she won the Oscar, I guess, when he was with Avatar.
No, but Alien 3, goodness gracious, the studio meddling in this film, and how many scripts did they go through? At least 5, if not more. It was a lot.
For what I heard, the first one, I think they had the William Gibson script, which you can find it now online. There's people say it's one of the best script of the Alien 3. Then they got the guy who wrote The Hitcher, which I think for what I understand it was gonna be set like on some kind of a farm, space farm, and the animals, like the farm animals, they turn into aliens. And then
there was gonna be an ox, like the original one. Instead of the dog, it was supposed to be an ox.
And then they got the director of Pitch Black, what's his name, David Tolley. As I think, for instance, it actually was the prison. He was going to be set on a prison. And for what I understand, it almost did happen. It was from this script, for instance, that they start like, because the previous script, they were saying Ripley was not going to be in it, because if I'm not mistaken, Sigourney Weaver was not.
Yeah, she was going to be a cameo.
Yeah, because
she was supposed to be.
Yeah. And she was not in a good relation with Fox at that time, if I'm not mistaken, because she didn't like some of the decisions they did with the Aliens, because a lot of people don't know, even though Aliens, the second one, is a great film, it has some behind-the-scene problems, like the crew didn't like that James Cameron was changing the tone from the first movie, and people, they were having a lot of issue, and then they also, if I'm not mistaken, they removed some behind stories stuff from the film that Sigourney Weaver was not happy. It's like, I'm not kind of coming back for another Alien film.
Yeah.
What was I talking David Tolley? Oh yes, David Tolley was the president, and then they got a director, I think a New Zealand director who's an art one, those art directors. They told him, hey, can you see if you can do an Alien movie? And he was like, I'm gonna have to write a new script. It's gonna be a plant where it's filled. I think was it spaceship was like a wood a lot. They were saying that that's what I'm hearing. Everything was wood, and it was gonna be about monks. But then what happens? That the studio's like, this.
And it was also supposed to take place on Earth too. One of the scripts, it was supposed to be crash landing on Earth and taking place on Earth. That's why the very first trailer said it was on Earth, and which was super misleading for everybody. So that's the reason why it like flopped, because everyone kept thinking it was going to be on Earth, and it wasn't. Yeah.
And did you read about the William Gibson script?
A little bit, the different ones that they had. Did he do the monastery one, or did he do the wooded one, or what else
the
was
monastery one is Vincent Gell. It's the same one as they did the wooden one. The prison is David Turley, the guy who did what was it? Pitch Black. I think his name is Eric Reed. That's the guy who did The Hitcher. That's The Farm. And William Gibson is the guy who was actually in the space station, was described as Zamal, which focused on Hicks and Bishop.
Yeah.
That's the one where it was gonna end with them teasing Alien Force. The Patriots gonna go on a war on the aliens' planet. That was the plans. That for the future it's gonna be something like, I think, Starship Troopers, where they go and fight with the aliens.
Yeah. I'm just really glad they didn't do the Vincent Ward one, where they basically instead of having a face hugger, instead of a face hugger on the old, being impregnated that way, they wanted Ripley being impregnated the old-fashioned way, and having a human hybrid alien thing. Basically, they were going to have a complete alien rape scene, like hentai type deal going on. Yeah,
something with this with Prometheus, when that not Tom Hardy guy.
I think it was
the guy who, remember?
I think so. Yeah.
Michael Fassbender. He drops like an alien thing for Logan Marshall Green. He drinks it, and then he has sex with Naomi Rapes. Then she becomes pregnant with an alien.
Yeah, which I mean, the guy's still human-esque, I would say, because they were like a couple. But this was going to be like a whole other alien on Ripley thing. Like, I'm really glad they did not go down that route.
Okay.
It would have been not okay. It would have been very disturbing, and especially for back then. Like nowadays, you never know what people are going to do when making movies, but like back then, that would have been. I don't think they would have gotten a good, like, I think they would have not gotten a rated R. I think it would have been like an NC-17 or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, because also, if I'm not mistaken, I also found out that in the William Gibson one, they also had like this could spread through gas, like like in Alien Covenant, like when there's like it's spores and it goes inside your body, because I think that was originated in the William Gibson script.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I hated that. It always drove me nuts in that movie where, like, yeah, it says it's oxygen on this planet, but it's a planet that you've never been to. Why would you take your helmet off? Which makes no sense to me as, like, a space explorer. Like,
it reminds me because I just been watching Futurama because on Disney Plus, and there's one episode I saw where they go to Mars, and Fry was like, "Is the air breathable?" Yes, and he's like, "Let's go. I use breath." Thank God. Just imagine this.
Oh my God. They also, I remember, they, besides having like that, and there was supposed to be, they wanted the alien more sexy with lips. So if you know, then the aliens they have for Alien 3, which is the dog alien, the digger. Yeah. I think it's a digger is what the actual like subspecies is. It doesn't have like the normal like organic tubes on its back. It's, smaller and it's fast. But it has lips. Because they wanted it to be sexier.
Sometimes we do some weird stuff.
Yeah. Because, xenomorphs need to be sexy, which actually is hilarious because the original artwork for the xenomorphs, like, and all the aliens is actually like porn art.
Yes, what's his name?
I can't remember the artist's name.
H.R. Geiger. Yeah. And apparently all this were based on concepts from an unmade Dune movie. Mm-hmm. Because you can see in a documentary, I think George Arasky's Dune, where he talks about it's like, I only made it. I have not read the book. I only made it because a friend of mine described to me what happens in the book, and everything what he described to me, I made it into a movie.
God.
And the studio was like, how many hours do you want to, and how much do you want to do? Do you want it to cost? I think he wanted to make, a 4-hour long movie, and they told him no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good right.
Yeah.
No, but this film, oh my God, like, everybody's disavowed it. Disavowed? Nobody wants credit. Nobody wants to have anything to do with this movie.
Yeah. Even
Everybody
the film
hates it.
novelist, the guy who's write the novelization of the movies, he also
Yep.
disowned this film, and Cameron apparently got pissed of how they handled the characters. Michael Biehn apparently. Here's the funny story about Michael Biehn. He actually, when he found out that they killed him in the beginning of the film, he told them, don't use my face or anything for the body. And it turns out that later, when they use this, we see his photo in the film, and he got paid more for this photo than what he did for Aliens.
Yep. I read that. That was so cool. That actually is because of Back to the Future 2. That rule now is because with the guy who played George, they used his likeness in the second film and didn't ask permission or anything like that. So he sued and won, and that's why now they have that you have to pay for likeness or get permission, and they can turn it down and you can't use it. It's pretty interesting. So that's pretty much what saved Michael Biehn. And then he did, the video game and ruined everything even more so. We're not going to talk about Colonial Marines.
Oh, that.
Nope. No.
At least we got Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. He was good in that.
He's great in a lot of things, but oh my god, Alien Colonial Marines was painful. Painful. When he showed up, I was just like, no. Like I remember I was streaming it because I played it all the way through, and I lost my mind with anger of just like I was yelling at the game. I'm like, this is a bunch of crap. And I was talking about like canon and how they've messed everything up now, and yeah.
Speaking about video
everybody hates on Alien 3 though, but I love it. I love it.
Did you saw this new Alien game, the top-down shooter?
Oh, Fire Team?
No, not Fire. There's a new one coming in. Yeah, I think it was. They showed it at. I think I tweeted to you. It was shown at the Game of.
You did tweet.
It was a long time ago video. I think it was a top-down video, like one of those Hearthstone games.
Interesting.
It's a top-down shooter, but I don't think it's an XCOM type of game. It's more like a top-down shoot.
I just want Alien Isolation sequel. They teased a mobile game for it years ago at the Game Awards. I think at the Game Awards or one of the State of Plays or whatever. But everybody got all excited for a sequel to Alien Isolation, and then they said mobile, and everyone's like, "That's what you're gonna do."
And then they dropped this the statement, "Don't worry, we're still making Alien Isolation 2."
I'll see it I'll believe it when I see it.
Apparently now the developers just announced a new game on IGN. It was like some kind of weird game. I think it was, I don't know what it's called. All right now. So then the Alien 3 came and they got a guy, his name is Larry Ferguson. He did actually, I think, a script that apparently people also they hated it, especially Sigourney Weaver. But apparently been described as element of Snow White, the Seven Dwarf, and Peter Pan. Where they say apparently that Sigourney Weaver described her that she's like the Wendy in the film, and the Peter Pan part, because at the end of the film they say that only 7 people survive and Ripley dies, but then they place her in a tube. It's like, like this the ending of Snow White when she's in a tube, and then the dwarf are surrounded. They say something like this, and then people are like, this is bullshit. So they brought up like the writer, the producer, or also the writers of the second Aliens film, to come write a new script. And then Fincher came in, and of course what I've read is they shot the film without the script. They already had some stuff and then they start filming.
Yeah, they filmed most of that while the script was still being written, which is unbelievably stressful on all the actors and all the entire set and everybody there. And they used the monastery set that they had already built for a lot of the scenes. A lot of it was cardboard. Behind the scenes.
Because of the wooden monastery, because he was almost about to sign up to direct it. Vincent Ward, then he dropped out because of creative difference. Okay,
dude, and then everybody got replaced. Everybody did. The cinematographer,
he was having Parkinson, that's why.
Yep, he died in 86, I think.
Yeah, because I remember, I think one of the people who was working in the film, he noticed him his behaviors, because his dad also had Parkinson. He told him guys, I think he has suffering from Parkinson. It turns out to be true, and then they had to replace him. And also, was it for the special effects was not Stan Winston. It's actually he recommended his 2 proteges to do it.
Who started their own company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'll say this before about the. I think that it looked good. I think the special, mostly on the close-ups. We'll talk about why I say the close-ups looks better.
They do.
Yeah.
That one scene where the alien is right there on her face was that illegal scene that they filmed because they were not given permission to do that. But it was like the director's idea of like she needed to confront the alien, and the studio's like, no, we're not doing that. And he literally grabbed a camera, he grabbed the operator for the camera, and he grabbed Sigourney, and the alien, the person who was doing it, and they ran off and didn't tell anybody and shot the scene, and it's in the final cut. And it's one of the best scenes there is, of where she's trying to get the alien to kill her, and it won't, and then it's like right there, and just
That's actually in the infirmary scene.
What?
The infirmary scene, which is the aliens that she confronts for the first time. He doesn't kill her.
Yeah,
because that's the most iconic scene, because that's not what a lot of people I hear about. That's the only scene that they showed a lot whenever they talk about Alien 3. It's always this scene.
Yep. And it was a scene that was not supposed to happen because the studio said no. And they did it anyway. The studio meddled so much in this film that it could have been something so much more, but they just would not take a step back. They just Jerry Jones'd this completely.
Yeah. Jerry Jones, that's the guy from Lakers, right?
No, it's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys.
What's the name of the guy from the Lakers?
The guy in the lake house, you mean Keanu Reeves?
No, the Lakers, the LA Lakers, the owner of the Lakers.
Oh, the LA Lakers. Oh, okay. I don't know who owns the LA Lakers. I just know some football. I know football.
Yeah, because the only reason, because I think his name was also something Jones. Also, when I think about someone else, I'll let the people tell me later. So we should start recapping the film. So it opens now with the, what's the name of the ship? Sulaco?
I think so. Yeah.
Where you see it like it's a set after the events of Aliens, where you see Ripley, Newt, Bishop, and Hicks there in their sleep pods. And then, unknown to them, there was actually an egg. Was that outside or inside the ship?
It was inside the ship.
Yeah.
The Queen brought one of her eggs on.
Yeah, because I remember in the William Gibson on script, she planted the egg inside of Bishop. Remember?
That would be interesting.
Yeah, because he was in sleep pod, and because when they open it, they see like the egg was planting in Bishop.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what happened is that you see the egg come in, and then the ship was the ship malfunctioning because of the alien? Because that's the one thing I didn't understand. Because was it malfunctioning?
It malfunctioned. I think it was the one of the pods malfunctioned or something because the alien, and it messed with something. I don't know. It messed with something, and it probably melted something. I don't know.
Because you see an acid
which makes sense.
Drop happens. So,
yeah.
But what we see in fact that the aliens planted his face on someone, but we don't know who that person is.
Yeah.
But then you see like the space pod, it separates from the ship and crash land on the planet. And we find out that this planet is actually a prison made for prison where prisoners are working as was it
a refinery.
Yes, a refinery, and they're all sort of religious as became. And what happens is that when
they found God.
Yeah, something like this. I wonder how many of them found God actually. So anyhow, they found the escape pod. They open it. They only find Ripley to be alive. If you see Bishop been basically destroyed, Hicks being killed, but he got impaled by like what was it?
It was like a pole, like debris, basically. Yeah.
He's been impaled, and Newt? She got drowned from the liquid escape pod. That's also her face and the things they showed you looked very scary the way she drowned.
Yeah, they used they made a body double based on the cast that they had for her in the second film, because they made a cast of her body. So they made basically a mannequin of her body, which basically because of the pre-production crap, they couldn't have Newt because she was too old. Because of how long it took with the firings and the rewrites and everything. She was too old to come back. And then they didn't want to pay Michael's fee because he wanted more money because he thought he should get more money. So they just wrote him out.
Because I remember someone said interesting stories, like he wished that at least, when this crashed, one of the parts actually, opens, but the Ripley's does not. But then later you finds out that she sees her friend, he's got maybe Newt or Hicks, like she's got older and she's like still young because her part opened late. Someone said maybe they have done something interesting like this.
Yeah.
So Ripley, she survives. She gets taken to the infirmary, but everyone else is dead. And then you see like the warden. He's talking to the prisoner. He tells them like a spacecraft got crashed and the survivor is a woman, and he tells them like to hold their temptation since since they haven't seen a woman in years.
Yep, because they weren't really prisoners anymore because they all served their sentence, but they chose because they wanted to shut down the planet and the refinery, and they chose to stay and continue working and everything. So it's like a chosen lifestyle is what they had because they all found God.
Yeah, because I remember the doctor, Clemens, who later we talk about, he tells her like I already sent this my sons, but I wanted to stay here because they became my friends and I have no one left on earth. Like I decided to spend here my rest of my life. So
because he wouldn't be welcome back with anything because of what happened.
Yeah, we'll talk about what happened. He explains to her. So we see him like Ripley. She wakes up and then they tell her like what happened. But then she goes to inspect the ship and she sees like on nude spot like there's some kind of like acid and she suspects that there might be an alien. She tells the Dr. Clemens, who's played by Charles Dance from Games of Thrones, who plays, I think, the father of the Lannisters.
Tyrion.
Tyrion. And he showed her the body. She tells him to perform an autopsy there because to find out if there's an alien creature on her or not. He gets suspicious because she tells him it's from Colorado, but he is suspicious. Like she wants her to tell him the truth. Yeah. They open it, but they don't find.
He's a smart man.
Yeah, the only smart guy I think is perfect. In the prison. Yeah. After finding that there's no alien creature inside of her, she tells them like burn because they said that they were waiting for the. They said they were waiting for the what's the company's name?
Weyland-Yutani.
Yeah, Weyland-Yutani.
It's the only time they ever said it out loud in any of the movies because you always read it and you always see it. It's always on a computer. They always called it the company, and it's the first movie where they actually say Weyland-Yutani.
Why is it that they didn't mention it in the previous films?
They just call it the company, and then you see it on like the computers and everything. I don't know why they never said it out loud. But the company's name is in the first two movies. It's just they've never said it out loud. They just say the company. Yeah. Which is like ominous. I think they said it for a reason because it makes it more ominous and like it's like the evil corporation kind of deal, which it is.
Yeah. Maybe because they have a hard time maybe pronouncing their name.
Probably.
Yeah.
Big possibility.
Okay, because to tell them they're coming for them to pick her up and the body's in 2 weeks, but it was actually 2 weeks if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think so. Yeah, they said 2 weeks.
Yeah, but
which was shocking because they were supposed to like their regular like food drop off and all that other stuff. They happen like every 6 months or something like that. Yeah. I think, and that they dropped everything. They were like, "We'll be there within this amount of time." And the doctor was like, "You're a very important person. Like, what's going on here?" He's like, "Why are they dropping everything just to pick up you?"
Yeah. So she tells them like to cremate like Hicks and Newt's bodies, but she tells them because she tells them from a disease. But they told them last time was because she convinces them, and the warden tells her like, "Fine, do it." So they burned the bodies. And then they also tell us like you have to shave their head because they say that the reason is because there's lice problems.
Lice.
And then she ends up shaving her head, and she tries to she tries to.
She went to go see. Yeah, and then was this about the time when she went to go see find Bishop? Oh, no. Because she wanted to know what caused the crash.
Yeah, I think before this, before the cremation, we see that the dog Spike, he goes into the ship and a face hugger, but we don't see him attacking the dog. But we later see the dog like he's injured, and the guy who the dog owner, he tells him what happened to you. And then and we're doing the funeral. You see, like it bursts out from the dog's body. Yeah.
I always hated that scene because I like animals. I don't care when it like bursts out of the humans, but as soon as like that dog yelped, I was just like, puppy.
Did you saw the thing? The John Carpenter movie?
The original, yeah.
Oh, so what do you thought of the dog scene when the creature sex? The
nope.
same.
Pet the dog and just like no, it was so.
That was way more graphic.
They're re-releasing that actually in theaters at Regal Theaters. Re-releasing
the release.
God.
Technical
No,
issues
I didn't.
that they had to come on and apologize that people were doing the event. Yeah, IGN has an article about it. They went the aspect ratios and movie was was shut down closely very early, and then there's apparently scenes are being getting skipped, etc. Basically, lots of technical issues. People were pissed.
Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so yeah, she shaved her head. Her eyes all messed up because she hit like the crash and everything, which looked really well done the way they did like the eye. Yeah. She's trying to fit in. I think she went to the mess hall and trying to eat, and everybody's the creepy teardroppy guys like staring at her.
That's the guy from Mindhunter, the TV show. He works.
Mm-hmm. That's a good show, by the way. Mindhunter's really good.
He's friends with Fincher because he appeared in him in other movies also. And then
nice.
So was it? Oh yes. She goes on to pick up the body, then she gets attacked by the men to try to rape her, but she gets saved by Dylan, the black guy.
Yep.
And he tells her, "Leave. I have to punish
the preacher."
Yeah. He says, "I have to punish these idiots." And then at that scene, we see actually, the guy who owns the dog. He's cleaning the shaft. Then he hears something inside, and he thinks it's the dog, but it's actually the alien. Then he spits on him. I think he spits. That's acid or liquid?
I think he just hawked on him. Like, I think it was just spit, right?
Yes.
And he's just like, what the? Like, it's all over him. He's like, what the heck's going on? And then it's like, nom, nom, nom.
No, he doesn't eat him. He trips and he hits the fan.
Oh, right. You're right.
He hits. And then, you see, Ripley talking with the doctor. He's like, he's trying to tell her, okay, can you tell me exactly what's happening? Why did you tell me to do an autopsy on the kid? I know it's not for disease, but he gets called up to go check, the body. They're saying that the fan just, killed the body. But you say, oh, that's that guy. How do you know? He said it's from the boots. Then they notice also that there's a shaft hole and it looks like it's been eaten like by acid.
I always liked the doctor and her relationship in that movie. A lot of people were like, oh, it's so out of character and this and that. Not really. She has been through massive traumatic things, and she finally had a human connection with somebody besides Hicks. But that was like nothing but action the entire time, except for the quiet moments.
People want her to be with Hicks. I think that's why.
Yeah, I think you're right. But it's like when she had alone quiet time in like the medical bay in the second movie with Hicks, she was connecting with him, and she hadn't the guy she loved died in the first movie, Dallas. Because that was like all deleted scenes, like they were together. And then so like in this one, everyone's like, it's out of character. I'm like, no, she's been through massive amounts of trauma and PTSD, and she finally has a human connection. This makes complete sense of why she would connect with him and why they would get together. And
they even give him like not an evil backstory compared to the others. Because all the people they're telling, I'm a murderer, I'm a rapist, etc., all this stuff. But he's the only one that doesn't have a backstory like this. So I think this way people will say...
Well, he was a murderer, but
not like...
a medical malpractice murderer, which is still murder.
Yes.
I mean, people still died.
Yeah, but like I said, he is like a murderer, but it's not... They didn't make it like as very brutal like the others. That's why...
he wasn't a violent murderer, I would say.
So, okay, so I think is where she uses Bishop, and I will say that was not, I think, they used, I think, practical effects for this scene. And as they say, it's looked good, very good, I would say, because I would praise the film where it's good.
Yeah.
They did a great job with the makeup on this scene. And he tells her, like, it was actually, there was an alien on the ship. And she finds out that, so there is, in fact, the creature that attacked him is an alien. And after that, you see, like, what was it? Three men, like, they're walking down, doing the I think they were doing maintenance, and two of them gets killed by the alien. One of them actually survives.
And they think that he did it.
Yeah, but he says that no, because of Dylan. I think that's the priest guy, the black guy. He tells him like, I know this guy. He would never lie to me. I think he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
And so.
And then he loses his mind a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's so like a creature.
I would too.
He thinks that there's Satan because of the religious background.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but since she tells them like this is, then Ripley tries to warn them. She goes to the warn them, but he doesn't listen to her. It's like he calls it BS. He tells her like they're gonna come and pick you up in a few days. Go back to the infirmary and stay there.
That was in the kitchen area, right? In the
that was in his
cafeteria.
office.
Oh, okay, yeah,
the cafeteria later. I think it's a few minutes later. There, I think it comes back to the infirmary where she's talking with the doctor, and he tells him his story because he tells him like, tell me your backstory, and I'll tell you my backstory. And he tells him his backstory where you find out that he's actually a drug addict, and a doctor, a guy. Was he a nurse or a doctor?
He was a doctor, and he was addicted to drugs, and he performed surgery while he was high, ended up killing somebody. So yeah.
Yeah, and that's how he tells her, like, and he even tells her, like, I already finished my sentence, but I decided to stay because nobody would want me on Earth, and I have nobody listening.
Yeah.
This is all the people I have left now to take care of them. And if he tells her, like...
And they needed a doctor.
Yeah. What do you do now after what's happened?
Yeah.
And then,
Together?
What happened? We're a little bit losing you. Behth,
Did I lose? There we are. Hi.
Yes, it got frozen. So
there was a little bit of lag.
Apologies now to the listeners. We got a little bit some lag, but everything now is doing well.
Yeah.
So where was that talk? Oh yes, at the doctor. Now he tells her like, I'm gonna give you something to calm you down, but unknown to them, like the aliens behind him, and he kills the doctor, and then he tries to get near and Ripley up. That's one thing I would say about the special effects. My criticism about. Because one thing I like about the previous films, like they shot them in the dark because that's why it covered like some of the bad CG. Here, you see like it's a little bit brighter. You see like how bad like maybe because they used the rotoscope where they used green screen and to cover like the alien, but you can see like how bad it is. But there is we get the close up. But when you see the close up when he's on Mars close to Ripley's scene, that's like the iconic scene from this film. You see it looks good.
Yeah. Whenever they do practical in these movies, it's amazing. And when they try to do, because the technology wasn't that great, whenever they try to do anything else, it was just, the lighting on it made it look not right. It just was like, it was just not good.
Yeah.
But yeah, after the doctor dies, that's when she runs into the cafeteria and she's like freaking out and she's trying to warn them. And this was... I love this scene because that warden is being such a jerk.
You got what he deserved, actually.
He really just all of a sudden, just right from the scenes.
Yeah.
They all believe her now.
Okay, now. And then they start talking to her, and then she gets picked to be the leader, but because she has experience fighting, and she tells them, like, what weapons do you find out? Someone explain to me, what kind of prison doesn't have any weapons?
Well, the kind of prison they probably did when they had like guards and everything like that, if they had guards. But since they're all prisoners and now they chose to live there and continue to work the refinery, it makes sense that all the weapons would be collected and taken away.
Yeah, and all what they left, like you said, are knives and candles.
Yeah, and pipes and things.
So Ripley tells them like, let's start burning it because they say fire is one of their weakness. So they try to plan the area to say we're gonna close it down, we're gonna burn this place so that we will burn it once we see the alien. However, like one of the men he gets like killed by the alien, then he drops I think the fuse and it burns down everything and it kills I think most of the prisoners.
Yeah, it kills a few of them. But yeah, I love the plan that they had. Yeah. It was just. Yeah, it blew up in their faces.
That's one
literally.
thing I liked about this film is that you see all them working together, like planning how to outsmart the alien. Because I don't think I've seen this in any of the other films. even I think did he do it in Aliens? Because I don't remember. Because most of the time they stand down.
No, it was too fast. The only time they actually tried to outsmart the alien was there was no point because there was too many of them.
Yeah.
There was just too many of them. So what they did is when they sent Bishop in the second movie down the pipe, and that was it. They couldn't outthink him. There was just too many. It was overwhelming forces.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Ripley tried to outthink the alien in the first movie, but with everybody actually, yeah, they tried to formulate a plan and like they were gonna blow up the ship and everything, and then just ended up being her.
Yeah. So after that, they feel like that's I think when Ripley she goes like to the pot to do a CAT scan alongside Aaron, and then there she finds out that she has like a chest burster hidden inside of her. Like it looks it's
Queen.
There's an alien. Did you find out how it's an alien queen?
I think it's probably like bees. So bees, what they'll do is they will have like the little like a drone can become a queen basically.
Yeah.
So I think they work the same way, and plus it makes sense because they have like a hive mind and everything. So that's pretty much what it is. It said online that they brought a queen egg, but I don't think that's accurate. I think that it knows if there's like a hive mind, it knows if there's any other aliens around and if it needs a queen kind of deal, like to actually like propagate and make more. So I think it just automatically switched.
Could it be also on the body of the host? Since she's a
maybe. It might, but that doesn't. No, not entirely, because there was all the colonists in the second film.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think what it is yeah, which also
that's
I'm
one thing
intrigued
about the
by that.
They should have kept it, because that's one thing I like about the first two films. Like they don't explain a lot about the origin of the aliens. It's just like it's very simplistic. I mean, that's one thing I didn't like about the new Ridley Scott prequels. Like, did you really have to give explanation?
They over-explained.
That's one.
Yeah, they over-explained.
Part of the mystery is the reason why you like. Heck, I mean.
Yep.
Ron Emmerich, you saw what he did with Gazelle. Like, he makes it like I don't know what's the term. Is it asexual? Like it can be gender neutral. Like it can be an he and she. Like you can lay eggs, and I don't know what's the right term to talk about the new girl. That old girl.
It's like the frogs that can change sex or gender, or they can change so that they can propagate themselves, kind of deal, which is super intriguing.
Yeah.
But probably the same type with the alien queen of they knew they needed a queen, so yeah.
All right. So after she finds out that there's the queen inside of her, she goes down to find the alien to test the theory, but she thinks that she's not hurting her because she keeps scanning the queen, and she finds out to be true. She goes to Dylan, and she tells him like, "I want you to kill me because they're trying to because there's an alien queen inside of her that if it came out, it's going to birth lots of eggs and spread out like the creatures." He does not kill her. He tells her, "Help me kill the alien first, then I'll kill you." And in the meantime, you see like what's it? The guy 85, the guy with the IQ 85. He's communicating with Wayland. What's it? The company I call the
Wayland Newton. Yeah.
The company, what they're saying, we're coming close. They acknowledge us to get ready, everything, and to tell them to keep Ripley safe. But you don't see. But the kind of obvious that we see later he responds, but we don't see it on screen.
Yeah.
And then they all agree that this is how we're gonna trap. We're gonna trap it in what's it called? Into our molten lead area. We're gonna drop lead on it, and then we'll kill it this way. So they decide the plan is that they're gonna go into that room. They're gonna activate some. They're
gonna bait it basically.
Yeah. They say that
use everybody as bait.
They can't use Ripley because she has the enemy because they won't chase her. But they do it. They try. Some of them in fact gets killed. Some of them do actually do. I think only, if I'm not mistaken, one of them only escapes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A few of them, they actually managed to like corral it to where it needs to go, and then they actually get into its spot, and they, yeah. Can't remember. Was it? Oh, it was the preacher. He had to use it because it was too smart. The alien was, and the preacher, he went in and he had to use himself as bait because every time he tried to leave, the alien was like, nope. And so he had to stay there. And that when an alien went to kill him, that's when they poured all the stuff on to kill the alien.
And also, when for the Dracula students is not coming outside, he used, I think, if I'm mistaken, he threatened to kill Ripley because she was killing the queen, right? It's before they poured the molten lid on it. That's why the alien, I think, came out.
Maybe. I don't remember.
Because she was also...
I just remember...
She started, I think, to act a little bit different. I don't know if she was acting because on purpose.
Yeah, she was coughing. She started coughing at that point. She knew, like, something was, like, it was coming to time.
Yeah. And then she...
and then they...
We get to the part, he said Dylan sacrifices himself so that they can board the lid on the alien. They drop the lid on the alien, but it comes out. But then they find out that they have to pour water on the alien so that, because it's covered in it, will become solid and dies. Ripley.
Well, it's not just that. It's what it is it's a chemical reaction. So I think it's awesome. The armor on that thing, first of all, survived the lead, which was really cool. But it was the extreme heat and then the cold water. It's when it hit that, what it did is it solidified the lead. But it's what happens when you put a glass bottle in a fire and then you take it out and you put it in water. It will shatter. Yeah. Because it gets overly hot and then it's like the drastic change in temperature. So, yeah, when that alien just went poof. Yeah. That was a really cool scene, though. I liked that one.
So, after that, after the defeat, we see also that the villain, the company, they come and, I have a hard time pronouncing names, so I'll call it the company. And we're also at the end of the film. They come, I know the film is about an hour and 55 minutes long, but I feel like the story wasn't actually basic and short compared, to Aliens 2. They went back and make it basic like the first movie, because the first movie was a basic, horror film in space.
Yeah. I love... each movie feels like it's its own genre, honestly, because the first one is just a horror film.
Yeah.
The second one is an action, and then the third one was like a thriller, I would say, like a sci-fi thriller. Yeah, with a little bit of action at the end.
Actually, what do you thought of the POV shot of the alien when he's chasing them?
I liked that. It was the first person view of it was I thought it was a good directorial choice, honestly.
Especially for a first time director. That was his first movie.
Because everybody gave the movie Doom. They all hated that when they did first person in Doom. But I liked it in Alien 3. It was cool because it provided a new perspective, which, it wasn't exactly needed because we didn't need to have the alien's perspective, but I thought it was just really cool looking.
Yeah.
And then them sending, what's-his-face, Lance.
Another android. First thing is actually a human, but we find out it's another android.
No, it was really him. He was really human. When he got smacked by the guy by 85, that was all blood. That he was the real person, but they sent him on purpose. Yeah, they sent him on purpose to mess with her, to try to convince her so that she had a familiar face, and they basically were trying to play a psychological game with her. And she's like, "No, this is not happening."
She refuses, and then she goes on by the first thing she drops herself into the first sacrifice so that she can kill the alien inside of her. You see that the alien bursts out from his chest, but it's already too late. She grabs him to make sure it does not leave, and then they burn. After that,
I like that scene too when she drops and she's just basically swan dives backwards off the platform, and then that slow shot, and he's just yelling no, because sadly enough though, she left her blood behind, which was no.
Sequel. After that,
which is
we'll talk about it another day. So so the company's crewmen, they came in to take the last surviving prisoner. I think that was Morse, if I'm not mistaken. That's why.
Yeah, the guy with the limp. He was the crazy one who saw the other guys get killed, and he was going a little bit crazy because of it. And they all thought that he was the guy who murdered them. And he was like, no, he would never lie to me. It was that guy. Yeah. He's the only one who survived.
Yeah, then you see the escape pods. You see the Stramos audio logs from the first movie, Ripley's talk is being played out, and then it ends with like a computer text saying that the prison is shut down.
Yeah.
And that's actually the film. So that was the film, because I think I'll let you go. What did you thought of the film? If any final thoughts about it?
It was definitely not as good as the other
Yeah.
two at all. Like, it's nowhere in near comparison to the other two. The other two were great, great movies. This, I look back on it now as a good movie only because of all the ones that came out afterward. Because Alien Resurrection, and then there was the Alien versus Predator movies.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, fun fact about Alien Resurrection, Sigourney Weaver agreed to do that film specifically so they would not make Alien versus Predator, and they still did it. Yeah, it was. She literally agreed to do that movie because of that. No, but I loved Alien 3. I liked it as a kid because I remember watching it in high school, and I liked it then. It was just different because I had no realization of like, oh, this is not as good as the first two. I just kind of watched it out as its own. That's why, like, I love it. Yeah. I mean, it definitely needed work, and the amount of like studio the interaction that the studio had was just They locked everybody out of the editing room. Like, they wouldn't let anybody in the editing room, and while they were doing it, and they just like massacred this movie from beginning to end with all the directors, with the different scripts, with the different cinematographer, with the different everybody. I mean, everybody. And I feel bad for the guy who had to write the score for the film, because I think he had like 2 weeks to write the score.
Yeah, because it happens a lot with composer. Because I think Rogue One had the same thing. I think it was 2 weeks to score the film.
Yeah. That's such an immense amount of pressure on somebody, especially writing music. Oh my God. But this film bombed. It did not do well at all. And I understand why.
It bombed in the US, but I think did well internationally. That's how they got the greenlight for the sequel.
Which is just 90s.
Yeah. That's how,
Alien Resurrection is just the 90s.
Yeah, and Joss Whedon. Boy, that's the name we talk about it now. Because also we talked... Did he
do Alien Resurrection?
He wrote the script. They brought the guy...
Oh God, that makes so much sense now.
They got, what was it, the director of a French director to do the film. I think he did the movie Amelie.
I liked all the characters. All the characters were entertaining in Alien Resurrection, but like, it was just basically in 1999, everything was in green because The Matrix, everybody filmed in green, so it was just very green, and it's just.
And I think he disowned also the film Joss Whedon.
Yeah. No, the director of Alien 3 definitely disowned this film. 100%. Nobody wants anything to do with it. Everybody hates it. Lance hates it, who plays Bishop. Yeah. God, everybody does.
I mean, the guy I just mentioned, James Cameron, hates it. Michael Biehn, we talked about it. And Alan Dean Ross, that's the guy who wrote the novelization of Alien 1 and 2. And he hated the film. In fact, they told him, come write the novelization for this film. He said, I have to change the film. But they told him, no, stick to the script. After that, he did not come back to write any Alien film until Alien Covenant. He wrote the novelization for Alien Covenant.
Nice.
Yeah.
They actually had graphic novels based off of, like, it was supposed to take place in between the second and the third film, and it was like following Bishop and Newt and everybody. And then the film came out, and they had to fix it, so they changed Newt because they didn't realize Newt was going to be, murdered. Murdered, but killed off screen. I hate off-screen killing. I hate it. I hate off-screen deaths in between movies. It is the most laziest thing in my opinion, especially what they did with like Elizabeth Shaw. Sorry, my phone.
That's okay.
It was like Elizabeth Shaw that scared me.
Oh, that's okay.
Noomi Rapace in like Prometheus and Covenant, killing her off screen. Oh. The laziest thing you can do. And when they did it with Michael and the girl who plays Newt, like, it's just, that made me upset, I think, watching that. It was like, that was just lazy, and I was so excited to see where they would go. And that was the biggest letdown, I think. I mean, everything else you can attribute to like bad script or like bad acting or whatever.
I thought the acting was good. I mean, it wasn't like, it was fun.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. It wasn't like bad.
I loved the Doctor. He's such a great actor. I love him.
Yeah,
and I remember him actually from this movie called Last Action Hero with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I remember him from The Golden Child. He was the villain in that film.
Yeah, he had the eye, the like he had the glass eye and everything. That was such a good movie. You should add that to your
I
life.
think it's on the list because that film was
Okay, good.
hated because nobody knew what was this movie about.
It came out the same time as Jurassic Park, and everybody was seeing Jurassic Park, and nobody knew anything about this movie, and it was actually really good.
Yeah. So for this film, you scored what? Redeemable or unredeemable?
Redeemable because Sigourney was amazing, as always, and the director tried his freaking best.
Yeah.
So I think it's redeemable to a point, but don't ever lump it with the first two.
Yeah.
It is its own thing. I would like them to basically, I know they can't, but I would love for like the Halloween treatment of where they just ignored all the sequels and started right back up after the second film.
I mean, that's
that
what
would be amazing.
Blomkamp wanted to do before these guys told him no.
Yeah. It would have been amazing if, even recasting, I would have been fine with recasting. Having, I don't know, just anybody. Who could play Sigourney Weaver? That's a good question, though.
He was gonna bring her and Michael Biehn back. He was gonna...
Really?
Yeah. There's a concept art photo of him, of her and of Ripley and Hicks. I don't know about, what's his name, Bishop, but I know that Newt was gonna be in the film. It's gonna be an older woman.
Yeah, she's a school teacher now. I think she's like a third grade teacher. Yeah. No, I think it's redeemable.
Yeah.
It's good. It's not the greatest, but it's good. And it's entertaining. And the good acting was great. The alien was cool looking. I like how they had a different species of alien in this one, the digger.
Yeah.
Was it a digger or a runner? I think it was a digger. I don't remember. Because they have subspecies of what they are. Like in the fourth film, they have the swimming ones and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's the major drones and then there's like smaller ones and all of that. But I think it's redeemable. I like it.
Yeah.
But I'm also biased because I really love the Alien series.
For me,
no, not biased, I would say. Because I hated the new ones.
I mean, this is like the Terminator. Like every time you see for me, like it's the same thing with the Street Fighter. Like I give it the Street Fighter demo score. People were asking why, because like you didn't saw the sequel, The Legend of Chun Li. That's why. Every time you see a bad sequel comes in, it makes the previous one look better, and that's the same thing with this one. Because I've heard mostly stories. This is my first time watching it. I've heard story people say it's not as good as the first. Seeing it's like, yeah, I can understand. It's not a perfect film. I mean, but especially when you find out that behind the scenes, so they didn't know what the hell they're doing with the film. But I feel like Fincher, for the first time director, with all the problem he had, he did at least good look. Even I think Roger Ebert, he said, this is the most beautiful, bad film I've ever seen. I think in his review he said it gives it 2 times. It's like at least the film looked beautiful. And apparently, even people who worked on the film actually didn't have a problem with Fincher, because some of them did come back, work with him in other projects. And so far, well, if I had to rescore this, it's actually a redeemable score for me.
I liked it. It's entertaining. I still own it. Every once in a while, if it's on TV, I'll watch it 100%. Be like, oh, Alien 3's on. I wonder which part of it's at. I think the scenes with the doctor and in the cafeteria are like some of the best. And then the end when they're trying to corral it. It's just, I love those scenes. I like the way they're shot. And like you said, like it was different seeing the alien in light, like bright colors and like the whiteness and the stark white compared to like how dark everything else was in the first 2 films. And then it got back to the darkness in like the end of the film. But like, yeah, that stark white was very, I don't know. It was an interesting choice. Yeah. I think I like it. I don't know.
For me, actually, I would prefer being in the dark, because part of this film, partially because, like I mentioned, the special effect didn't look good. And of course, it's an outdated special effects, but that's why. Because that's why.
Always do practical.
Yeah. And that's why, in the previous 2 films, they use, that's why you didn't hear about special effects. They purposely shoot them on the dark so that in case they have low budget, you can hide, the mistakes to make it look better. That's one thing I like about it. Directed to things outside of the box. How to shoot them. Because that's why, when you see Jaws, you don't see the Sharpie, and then so what Spielberg did to make it scary.
Yep. The less is more.
Yeah.
Showing the alien too much is just, That's why I like in Aliens when they did the whole like they're right on top of us. They're right on top of us, and they're all freaking out, and they all look up, and then they do that little when they look inside like in the ceiling like tiles, and they're like, oh my god, they're all right there. That was I love that. No, actually, I had a really cool fact about you know the crane that she goes over and everything to like drop and jump from.
Yes.
That was actually made from a deconstructed X-wing from Star Wars.
All right, because they shot it in UK, right? Pinewood Studio.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think the same studio works on Star Wars.
Yeah. So there was like a part of like parts from like one of the old X-wings that they used for this crane, which is like the coolest thing. So like Star Wars is in Aliens. That's canon now.
Yeah.
Automatically redeemable.
Yeah. So what do you think now of the news? Like there's going to be an Alien TV show on FX that's supposed to be set on Earth, and a new Alien movie from the guy who did Don't Breathe and Evil Dead reboot.
I'm hopeful. I liked the new Evil Dead TV show. I haven't seen
the film. He also did now the girl.
The film, yeah. Oh.
Also,
I liked that actually. The girl in the spider web.
Yeah.
I know it's not technically part of the series. Like the family or whatever like took like manuscripts and stuff like that, and like, but it was actually entertaining. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. I'm intrigued. I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
But after I've seen certain choices that they have made with the Alien franchise and what they've decided is canon and not canon, I'm wary. So I'm gonna watch it with a grain of salt and not get my hopes up too high.
Did you saw the TV show Fargo and Legion? It's the same showrunner for the Alien TV show. They're actually good shows. I think you might enjoy it. I think both of them is on Hulu, if I'm not mistaken.
What is it called again?
Fargo, the TV show Fargo and Legion.
Oh, Fargo. Yeah. Legion. That's the X-Men one. That's Xavier's son. I watched the first season. Phenomenal show. I never watched the second season though. I need to. I just haven't. But I've loved Legion. It was one of the most beautifully shot TV shows. Like the Art Deco and abstract, like it was gorgeous. It was really gorgeous, and that it was really well acted. And I like the guy who plays him.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Charles Xavier's son.
Yeah. That
I do know. I remember that. But yeah, no, I haven't seen Fargo, the TV show, yet.
Okay.
I watched the movie, but I'm not really a Coen's brother fan. Sorry. I know that's going to make a lot of people mad. Everybody loves Coen brothers.
Especially Joe, because he loves the Coen brothers. Okay, so
I liked Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
Oh, that's
that and the Hudsucker Proxy. Those two I loved. The rest I'm just like, meh. Everybody loves the Big Lebowski. I'm like, meh.
I liked the True Grit remake. If you've seen it.
Yeah, True Grit was really good. I liked that one. They changed it a little bit from the original, but it was still really good.
Better than the original.
Well, it's happier.
Oh.
Because Matt Damon's character died in the original. And so he lived in this one. But yeah. So any last thoughts about Alien 3?
No, that's it, because I'm pretty curious to see what they're gonna do, because I'm actually worried about the movie, because the director Freddie Alvarez, like, he also wrote and produced the Netflix Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and people hated that film. I don't know if you saw it. And he has also,
no, I heard about it.
And one of my biggest criticism about him, like, a lot of people say that he makes the characters unlikable, so that when they get killed, you cheer for them. Like, I feel like he might do something similar with this new Aliens. Like, he might make the characters unlikable so that you can cheer for the aliens when he killed them.
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like shows where the characters are so unlikable, where I feel like because I like watching shows where I can connect to at least one of them or have some redeeming qualities in them. Like, perfect example, Seinfeld and Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like, Always Sunny is funny. It is. I think it's funny. I just can only watch like 1 or 2 episodes in a sitting because there's such terrible people that I'm watching this, and I know that's the point. But I'm watching it, I'm just like, I can't. This is making me feel horrible inside. And especially Seinfeld. Seinfeld was the same way for me. It was just like, this is not funny to me. They're terrible people. Like, oh my God. And this is why I always will argue that Parks and Rec is a better show than The Office, because all the characters grow as people and get better And in The Office, a lot of the characters stay stagnant, like Stanley and Phyllis, who are horrible people. They're funny, but horrible people.
Yeah. At least, we all agree that we love them when the DVD logo hits the corner. That's a great episode. Even the simplest thing will make people happy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we can't wait to hope to see what the future, because now we know Predators is having now, looks like it might be a good film with Prey. This course our hand itself was going to end up being looking good.
Yeah.
You saw the trailer,
I liked Predator. No.
Prey.
I liked Predator.
The new one, Prey, was yes, for the new Predator prequel.
No, I haven't watched it.
You did? Go watch it.
Okay, I will.
Yeah.
I liked Predator with Adrian Brody, and I hated The Predator.
Yeah.
Predators was really good because he wanted to keep it the same feel as the first movie, which he did. It was really good.
Yeah.
And then the new one, The Predator, was just horribly bad. Horribly bad. I mean, it was campy and no, it's bad.
Yeah. All right. I think this is it now for today's episode. Thanks, Behth, for joining me. Where can people find you?
They can find me at LadyMacBehth on Twitch, literally twitch.tv // LadyMacBehth, and that's MacBehth.
Okay.
Spelled funny. That's how it's spelled.
Yeah. And you can find me now at Twitter at YAZMan300. For some reason, Twitter decided to suspend my old account. And you can find YAZ300 Pro on my Twitter and Instagram to see updates on the podcast. And MrYazMan300 Production on YouTube to see all the episode video. And make sure you find on the podcast services like Apple and Spotify. Just type Redemption of the Rotten to find this podcast. And also don't forget to like, subscribe, and what else? Oh yes, rate and leave a comment and spread the word. Also share this podcast so we can increase this viewers also. And before I leave, some housekeeping. Help me reach my channel, reach 1 million subscribers, and I'm gonna make Joe and Andy and maybe another person watch and suffer watching the Turkish animated film The Adventures of Acela. So thanks guys for watching, and I hope I see you guys on the next episode. Bye.